Storytelling. He's at cruise. Then the transponder dies. A MiG-31K with a KH-47 drops toward the Ukrainian coast, dragging 4.3 tons of heat and consequence. 4 Su-35s scramble. The cockpit bakes. The fuel math tightens. Volkoff pulls idle, pops air brakes, and vanishes inside Doppler noise for a heartbeat. It buys him one thing: time. Ahead, low-level terrain masking, a drone ghost wall to split radar returns, and a runway too short for a jet this heavy. Watch how conscience, deception, and raw physics collide, and why a single notch was the hinge of his escape. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Why would 4 Su-35s chase one jet carrying a missile they're supposed to shield, not run from? Because the bigger threat isn't the jet. It's what happens if that missile never comes home. Volkoff holds cruise with a 4.3-ton KH-47 hung on the belly, the jet trimmed hard against the drag penalty. A MiG-31K can sprint and climb like a thrown spear, but the moment you strap a Kinzhal underneath, it stops being slick. Thrust still comes easy. Control does not. Every small bank angle wants to roll deeper. Every correction costs fuel. He flies level, fast enough to stay ahead of trouble, slow enough to keep the missile from tearing at the brackets. That balance is thin. Then the transponder goes off. One click, and the entire Russian integrated air defense grid flips him from friendly to unknown, then to suspect as his nose nudges toward the Ukrainian coast. Controllers can excuse a squawk failure. They can't excuse a course change that cuts across protected air lanes. Crimea's scopes watch him drag heat across the board. The heaviest ordnance in theater just went quiet and started drifting toward the wrong shore. That looks like a defection even before anyone says the word. The physics bill comes due right away. The Kinzhal's hardpoints add drag. The missile's body shoves the shockwave outward. The asymmetric fit makes the jet hunt and roll. Fuel goes out in a thick stream. 2 engines biting dense air at medium altitude, plus the extra throttle needed to hold trim. He is bright in infrared and bulky on radar. The Kinzhal turns a sleek interceptor into a beacon. The faster he flies, the hotter he glows. The slower he goes, the easier he is to bracket. So why 4 Su-35s? Because a MiG-31K with its load intact isn't a single aircraft problem. Lose the missile and you lose a strategic card. Let it land intact in Ukrainian hands and you lose telemetry, seeker data, material science clues, and the messaging that says, we can strike anywhere. The scramble logic is simple. 2 to press, 2 to cut off. They're not only chasing a pilot, they're chasing narrative control and secrets baked into composite skins and guidance boards. Look at the board from above. Crimea sits under layered radar rings. Long-range early warning farther inland. High-flash coastal arrays looking out, and fighter radars filling the gaps. Over the sea, the radar horizon matters. The Earth curves, beams skim and miss low flyers. A big jet near the deck slips under line of sight until it gets close. Low flight isn't stealth, but it pokes holes in coverage at the edges. He drops, fast. Not a gentle descent, but a fishhook. Nose down to trade altitude for a quick bank of energy, then level out just above the surface where the air is thick and the options get narrow. He gains speed, buys masking from the sea clutter, and burns more fuel than he wants to admit. Every foot lower takes him deeper into a narrow tunnel where terrain, ship wakes, and even waves throw false echoes back at the radars trying to tag him. Here's the technical edge he leans on. Radar energy bends straight, the planet doesn't. Below a certain height, returns smear into ground or sea clutter, and Doppler filters try to clean that mess by ignoring objects with speeds matching the clutter's rate. If he rides the right vector, his closure relative to a given radar cell flattens, and he sinks into the noise. He's still there, big, hot, and loud, but the math that separates him from the background starts to fail for a moment. That is why 4 Su-35s lift. Not because one jet scares them, but because the story it carries could blunt Moscow's nuclear posture and hand Ukraine a prize that upgrades defenses overnight. He has minutes, not safety. And the next threat won't be a radar scope. It will be the first missile in the air, and a move most pilots avoid when they're heavy and low. How do you make a 40-ton jet disappear for one heartbeat? Long enough to break a missile's lock? You don't vanish. You force the radar to misread you. One heartbeat is all he needs to slide out of the kill box and make the first shot fail. The first Su-35 pair closes from high and aft, weapons hot. An R-77 can ride a data-linked track into terminal range. An R-37M can threaten from much farther out. Volkoff is heavy with a missile that drags and heats the jet. He's low, with waves whipping under the nose and pylons whistling. The cues stack up in the cockpit. Warning strobes, tone shifts, and the cadence of a system that has already built a firing solution on him. He cannot climb. He cannot out-accelerate. He has to break the math holding him in the reticle. The notching window is narrow. Every radar calculates closure along its look angle. If he can drive his lateral motion to line up perpendicular to that beam, the measured Doppler shift drops towards zero. The radar sees no change and lumps him with the background. That window closes fast because angles change as missiles and fighters move. He needs the jet's nose set just right, and he needs the speed bled off at the exact moment the radar's filters are trying to sort clutter from targets. He pulls the throttles to idle. Air breaks out. The deceleration is abrupt, the kind that pushes harness straps tight and makes the engine temps roll down even as the airframe groans. Speed unwinds. Closure collapses. He flies the beam at a 90-degree cut, trading cushion for a thin slice of Doppler invisibility. To hold the line, he trims aggressively and rides tiny pitch changes to keep the vector clean. Turbulence nips at the wings. Any wobble can kick him out of the notch and bring the lock roaring back. The costs hit immediately. Energy gone means altitude and speed are no longer savings accounts. He just emptied both. If the wingman ranges in, guns and heat-seeking missiles become the threat. Short-range shots like that do not care about Doppler. Go too slow and he becomes an easy bracket for a pincer that traps him between infrared seekers and cannon bursts. He accepts it because the lead shot has to die first. Living through the first engagement buys a chance to reorder the fight. This tactic rides on known radar behavior. Look-down/shoot-down sets are built to pick targets out of ground clutter, but they use filters that assume clutter has a certain velocity spread. When a target's apparent speed flattens into that spread, detection suffers and track quality drops. That's the seam he exploits. He's not invisible. He's blended with noise for a moment that counts as a break in the chain of guidance.